everybody, Mr. Hayward here. We are going to talk about how to draw a keyboard. There's a few things that you'll need. You'll need some paper, you'll need a pencil, you will need a ruler or a straight edge, the edge of a book or a magazine, chunk of cardboard, just something so you can draw nice straight lines. And if you don't have a ruler, a quarter for measurement, because we're going to need something about that size. So let's get started. Drawing our piano keyboard. Now, by way of example, I have in front of me my piano keyboard. The reason we're doing this is because as we learn, before you get your keyboards, we're going to need to be able to have our fingers practicing at the right width. So I have an example of one I did during class earlier today, and I'm just going to put this up here to show you. So here is my paper piano keyboard, and we'll talk about measurements. I can easily practice with my fingers on the right at the right distance apart for each of the notes to play. Now without this here to help me, if I just had the top of a table, I might have my fingers too close, and then when I go to the keyboard, I'm going to play wrong notes. For example, I might have my fingers so close that I only get, right? I might not get all 5 fingers, so I need to have them far enough spread out. But the other problem, the opposite problem is true too. What if we just hold our hands kind of this, and they're so far apart, if I practice this way, leave my hand in the same shape, open the piano, and I put my hands down, I miss a note, right? So I want to make sure I'm practicing with my fingers at the right distance apart. This will also help us to encourage us to keep our fingers curved a little bit, because when they're not so spread out, when we bring them together, it's going to be a little more natural for the fingers to be curved. So the right distance is super helpful. So this paper keyboard, as a practice tool until we get your keyboards, is going to be great, because that way I can look and see my fingers are at the right spacing. All the dimensions on here are super easy, not very hard. These are not exactly right. So I'm going to show you, compared to the actual one, it's off by just a fraction. So if I line up with the first note here, you can see the first one is right on, the next one's pretty good. By the time I get down here, they're off just a little bit. So you could make yours a little bit smaller, and that would be helpful. But the measurement that I took with a ruler from one key to the beginning of the next key is about 7/8 of an inch. And then I found that a quarter is about just a little above 7/8 of an inch. It's like maybe an extra 16th over. So instead of 7/8, it's 15/16. So a quarter is a little bit big. We can cheat a little bit with that, but we're going to use the ruler and the quarter to kind of show you how you can get this done. So I'm going to use the lid of the piano to draw. I've got a blank piece of paper here, and to make it easier to draw, I'm going to tuck part of it under so I can see what I'm doing better and you can see what I'm doing. So first step we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler. Hey, and if you don't have a ruler and you want to use just a straight edge, that's great. You could grab something like just, this is some piano music, right? And it has a nice straight edge on it. You could use that totally to do what we're going to do. I'm just going to use a ruler because it's here, and why not? So I'm going to put the ruler down on my paper, and I'm going to make a line about 1 inch away from the edge. This is the long distance on the paper. So I'm going to go across there, and there's my first line on my paper keyboard. I'm going to turn the paper sideways. And the reason I want to go sideways is so I can measure for the lines that are going to go across this way. So let's do this. Before we draw those, let's keep the paper in the same orientation. So I drew my straight line. I could go every 7/8 of an inch and make a mark. And then I could do that all the way across the paper. And this is indeed an accurate way to do this. So if that's what you want to do, great. However, if you don't have a ruler, find a quarter. You will notice then when I push this quarter in here, it just covers up and a little more 2 of the tick marks. So if I come in here and I cover up a tick mark plus a little more and I make a mark, we're going to be pretty darn close. We're not going to be perfect, but this is a temporary practice tool, and this is going to help you be successful with your piano playing. So I'm going to go through here and make my marks and take back a teeny bit away from each one. One more to make there. All right, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 notes, and there's a little space more. If you wanted to get fancy, you could take 2 pieces of paper together and make a long keyboard. We're not going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to turn my paper sideways, And starting at the first tick mark that I made, this is 1/4's worth away from the edge, or 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to draw lines now from top to bottom or from side to side on this paper at the tick marks. So as we do this, you're going to see that they're going to look a lot like super long piano keys, which is okay because that's what they really are. They're super long piano keys. And your piano keys actually go way inside the piano. They actually already do that. So there's no harm, no foul, right? Everything's going to be fine. But we're not judging, right? Because this is just temporary. This is just practice. Okay? So now I'm going to show the paper now, right? And so here we have a row of notes about the right size for piano keys. They're not perfect, but they're going to be great for you to practice. So now we need to know which note is which and where they go. We're going to talk about how to draw on the black keys, because that's part of the lessons we're doing at the very beginning. We're actually going to start by playing on the black keys. So here's my quarter again. And the measurement we need is it's about 2 inches. So if you have a ruler, use a ruler. But if you don't and you have a quarter, this is going to be close enough for us to make our lines and make everything perfect. So I'm going to take a quarter and start, and then I'm going to put this here, and that's the mark I want, is at the top of 2/4 up from the bottom. Again, it's not a perfect measure, but if I measure it with my ruler, that's actually pretty close. So I was a little short on the measurement on purpose so that I could have that going. So now, instead of doing all of them, I came all the way down to the end. So it's on the line. I'm going to move it in just a little bit, make a dot, just a teeny dot, and I'm going to just cover that dot, and I'm going to make a little line. So this line right here, I'm going to make across here marks for where each of the black keys end. So you may have seen a Kit Kat before, right? Kit Kat, tasty little chocolate treat. Give me a break, give me a break, give me a break with that Kit Kat bar. Okay, the black keys are every 2 and every 3. So that means I need to put one here, here, skip, here, 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 skip, here, here, skip, and then one at the very end. So we're going to do 2. And I'm going to make these the width of a Kit Kat. Now, is this perfect like a piano keyboard? No, we'll see at the end. It's a little off, but it'll be great. So I'm going to make on either side this mark go back and forth about as big as I think a Kit Kat is. Okay, so I do 2, and then I skip 1. So then I do 3. 1, 2, 3. My Kit Kats are getting a little small. Okay, 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, 3, skip. So I'm going to do 2 more now. I had to stop to make sure I wasn't leaning into the camera and ruining the stuff I'm trying to show you. So here's 2 this time. 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, 3, skip. 1, 2, skip. And then one final one. We would do more if the paper was bigger. And again, you can tape on another page and do 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. You can make yourself a big keyboard, but this will be great to get started. So now when I pick the ruler up, you can see here's 2 black keys and 3 black keys, 2 black keys, and the beginning of 3, but that's all the paper that I had here. So now we're going to turn the paper sideways again, and we're going to take our straight edge. Again, I'm using a ruler, you use what you got. And I'm going to take these short little lines, and I'm going to run them all the way up to the top of the page. Each one of these, because that's how we're going to outline our black keys. So all the way up. Now, if you had Kit Kats at home and you traced around them, you might actually, get kind of bumpy lines, but that could be fun. You could do that. All right, done with the ruler, so I'm going to put the ruler aside. So let's look now at our page. 2 black keys, 3 black keys, 2 black keys, and 1 more, it would continue. So what we're going to do to make this work is so our eyes don't get confused by all the lines, we're just going to take our pencil and we're going to color in where the black keys are. So here we are, coloring in. I'm not making it exact. This is temporary. It's for practice. So if anybody out there is watching this video and you're not a Campbell X student, hey, welcome. Glad you're here. I hope you learned something, and I hope this is useful for you while we're learning piano from home. So here is my practice piano keyboard all finished. Now my keys are really long. It doesn't matter though. It was easier to draw the lines all the way up than to stop them and have them be uneven. You can do more. If you like to draw and you have markers, you can get markers out and color these in and make them perfect black, and you can make all the lines nice and dark. You can do what you want, okay? If you have crayons, you could use crayons. You could use colored pencils. Okay, now we didn't do any key naming because maybe your teacher doesn't want to do that. We might do that later, but for right now, here is your practice piano keyboard. I hope this was useful to you, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks very much. Bye.